the very unpopular advice or the thing that I want to share with you guys. A lot of the people talk about being independent in relationship or being independent as a woman. You gotta be independent emotionally, socially, financially, all the aspects of life. And one thing I want to tell you that nobody is independent. Even if we say we are independent, we are not independent. And I'm not completely independent. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to depend on somebody for your needs, whether it's emotional needs, social needs, being with a friends, family, partner, whatever the case is. Nobody is independent. We talk in the world a lot about being independent, being strong, being yourself, and just all that stuff. But no one actually realized that in the world we live in, it's a physical world, and we are physical beings. We are the social beings, and we are all dependent on each other for something or the other. And some people would say, oh, I'm independent, but you're not independent. If you have friends, if you have family members, your partner, somebody who you talk to, you are dependent on somebody, whether for energy, whether for support, moral support, emotional support, whatever the kind of support, but you are dependent on somebody. You're not independent. So this notion of being independent and self-love, self-care feels amazing on the paper. I'm not saying that self-love, self-care is bad, but being totally independent doesn't ring the bell for me at all. It was ringing the bell before when I was not introduced to these concepts, but now I'm practically living my life. I realize that I'm not completely independent, and it's okay for me not to be independent completely. I am dependent on for something or the other from my partner, from my friends, from my family members, and it's okay because we are all helping each other. We are all providing support for each other, whether emotionally, socially, financially, or whatever level. We are all doing it. So nobody is independent. You cannot be independent in this social world where you need constantly the help of somebody. You go to the store, you buy some biscuits. You are dependent on that store for buying that biscuits. Imagine if that store is not selling that biscuit, then what's gonna happen? So you are dependent on that store for buying that biscuit. In fact, you're dependent on that company for producing that biscuit. You're dependent on the farmers for growing the crops, for growing the wheat from which this biscuit has been made. So you see, we are all dependent. If the farmers decided one day that they no longer wants to grow the crops, what we gonna eat? And now some people would say, we were going to eat meat. Well, you're dependent on the people who are taking the meat and making meat for you. So you are dependent, whether you're going out and eating in the restaurant, you're dependent on the restaurant people to cook food for you. You're dependent on the chef, you're dependent on the cook to cook food for you. So we are all dependent on each other. So why this notion in the world, people talk a lot about, oh, I'm independent woman, I make my own money. Come on. There is no such independent exist in the world where we are social beings. We are constantly need help and support from the other people. Without that, we wouldn't survive. If all the store in the city get closed, where are you gonna get your groceries? Imagine. You're dependent on the store, right? So we are all dependent on something or the other. So I'm open and honest with you guys, and I'm okay to share with you guys that I am dependent on something or the other from my family members, from my friends, even from my partner. And I don't want to be independent, and I don't want to be talking about the notion of independent, because the notion of independent doesn't really exist. It's only exists in the psychological mind, who want to show to the people that they are strong because they want to show off the people. They don't want to show off their vulnerabilities or their weak points, and that's why they want to show that they are strong. But in actuality, they are not strong. They are showing off, trying to being independent, but they are not independent. So you don't have to be independent to manifest the love of your life or to manifest the partner. Hopefully this video is going to help you. Let me know.